In this video, I wanted to share how to start a new life without an abundance of things. I wanted to show you how I do it, and also I wanted to share some thoughts about minimalism and frugalism in general. Minimalism became very popular a couple of years ago, and I remember I was so hooked from day one. The idea of a simpler life with only the things that you need, I was really inspired by the whole thing. And I'm also very inspired by frugal people. In fact, my grandparents were very frugal. They came from Poland that was occupied by communists, and they lived in a very different reality. They didn't waste any money. They would never ever buy coffee in a coffee shop or go to a restaurant. They used their hard-earned money to the fullest. A couple of years ago, the minimalist movement started, and I think that this is an expression of this consumer lifestyle behavior that we have today. We as a society do more shopping than ever. We keep upgrading, and we have these excuses for making all of these purchases, which I will demonstrate in just a minute. We tell ourselves that we need these things, but the reality is that I think that this excessive shopping is an expression of an inner struggle. Not to get too philosophical, but I think that we shop because we feel this void inside. You see, people are programmed to survive, but when society grows to the point where people no longer have to starve, it sort of removes this struggle for survival. Every time we buy something, we do it out of an instinct to survive. Now, I know that not everybody is fortunate to have this problem. Some people are starving, some people live in war zones, but I think that's like a very separate issue. As much as I wish that people didn't suffer, it doesn't really help anyone that I feel guilty about my shopping problems. If anything, guilt actually makes me shop more. Look, because this whole overconsummation thing is an expression of our inner battles, we need to deal with it. In a weird way, that's what we are programmed to do, because our brain only cares about survival. So when we feel anxiety about something, no matter what it is, it will only think about food, shelter, and tools to survive. The brain doesn't really know how to handle the harsh reality of life, but that's why we have minimalism. Now, frugal lifestyle is a very different thing, but it's also kind of the same thing. It's all about living in simpler terms so you can invest more money into earlier retirement. Now, some people also live frugal lifestyles for other reasons, because they just need a simpler life. So it sort of goes hand in hand with minimalism, and yet not. But personally, I want to work less. I want to explore life and focus more on expressing myself creatively. But because there is this need for money, I need to also work, which I've made a separate video about. First, let me just explain what a deep hole that I'm in. I have a lot of stuff, and for every item that I own, I have arguments why I need it. Like, I need this camera lens for portrait shots. I need this pair of headphones for my TV so I don't have to, pack up my headphones in my backpack. But the truth is, I don't need any of these things. Here's an embarrassing example of how bad things can get. I have 5 pairs of headphones. I have the AirPods for my MacBook, I got the Audio Technica for my video editing, and I have these Sony headphones for traveling, and I have these headphones for my TV. And then I have a 5th pair of Sony headphones in case the battery runs out on my TV headphones and, I don't want to have to stop watching a movie. Does that make sense to you? If it doesn't, don't worry about it, because it doesn't really make sense to me either. Now, I could use one pair of headphones for everything. The problem is that different headphones are good for different things. And also, when I turn off Bluetooth on my headphones, they always connect to the last thing that they were connected to. So if I had a pair of headphones for everything, there would be this little glitch in my life where I would have to specify what to connect to. I know, it's a big disaster, isn't it? I recently went through my lenses. I have a lot of lenses for my camera, but 90% of the time I only use like 1 or 2 lenses. So I decided to pack up most of my lenses and store them in the attic. And I picked out 3 lenses that will be enough. Now, I don't think that you have to sell everything that you don't need, but put it away. And if you don't use it for years, you could sell it. But do sell the things that you know that you won't ever use. So the idea here is to remove distractions from your life. That's like the key ingredient of a minimalist lifestyle. Distractions are basically everything that provides nothing in your life. When I go into minimalism mode, I try to start from scratch. I try to remove as much as possible and then add things if I need to. So on my smartphone, I always start by removing all apps that I don't think that I need. In worst case scenario, I'll just install them again. Now, all of this removal should not lead to you buying more things. I see a lot of minimalists on YouTube that decide to buy these multifunctional things so that they can keep shopping. Minimalism can actually lead to more shopping, and maybe that works for some, but personally I try to save money by not buying a whole bunch of new things. I try to use what I have, so to speak. So minimalism isn't a weekend retreat that fixes you up for life. It's like an exercise that you do from time to time. And I sort of see minimalism as cleaning. Once in a while, I bring out the minimalism vacuum cleaner and I tidy up my life. That's the way I live. Thank you for listening and see you in the next one. Bye.